today's video is looking at the Sirui Anamorphic adapter part 2, following on from the Anamorphic adapter video I did. Speaking to someone on the comments on my last video, they noticed their Anamorphic adapter wasn't always very good at focusing. I guess part of it's nature of the beast, but why isn't it focusing? So I thought I'd do some tests on mine. I've used a couple modern lenses, and I've used also a couple vintage lenses. I'm using a Super Takumar lens from the 60s or early 70s. It's a 35mm f2. I've got the adapter on here. I've got trying to see if the focus is right. It's quite hard, to be honest. So I might be out of focus for this video because it is a manual lens. But let's see how I do. With this adapter, something I've noticed, it's very good at getting that dreamy-like anamorphic look. A bit like if you see the Amazon Prime show Peripheral, I'm probably saying that wrong. It's got a very dreamy anamorphic look, which I guess is deliberate, and I guess it's shot wide open all the way through it. Where if you look at some of the, say, other shows where they use anamorphics like and/or the latest Star Wars, that is anamorphic, but it's not quite as dreamy, even though it is using vintage, I think, C series Panavision lenses. So here's my test. It's not exactly the most fun thing to watch because I just put a guitar in front of a fireplace, this one here. But I wanted to test to see how I got it in focus. So this part is on the Sony A7IV f1.8. It's a modern lens with the 25 anamorphic adapter. And as you can see, even though it's not tack sharp, it's sharp enough. This is on the Takumar 35mm f2. It's a vintage lens. And as you can see, that looks really nice. It gives it a kind of nice quality. I turned up the f-stop a bit higher. It's not as sharp like that, but still it's very usable in a kind of filmic way. Okay, this is the Takumar 55mm. It's an f1.8 vintage lens, but if you notice here, it's not very sharp. And I also tried another fireplace test, and you notice it's not sharp here. At this point here, I did notice that the Takumar 55mm was going out of focus, and I was thinking, hang on, why is that so out of focus? And because it's adapted glass with an E-mount adapter, I changed to a different adapter, and I think that was affecting the affinity focus point. So when you were putting it to affinity and then putting the adapter on, that was stopping it being in focus fully and making it distort and making it go really horrible. So once I changed it to a different adapter, it seemed to go a lot more in focus, and I did a few extra tests, as you can see here. Okay, I went back and I tested the 55mm again because I wasn't happy with the results. So this is the 55mm Takumar, and there's my dog, and trying getting him in focus at the best of times is not easy because he likes to move around. I had to really try and get him to stay still, and this is the longest I have actually seen him still. Okay, this is a quick test I did in the room. I used the 55mm with the adapter, and then I didn't use a monitor, so it was just trying to use the small flip out screen on my camera on the A7IV, and I used my hand to focus with. So there you go. This is me using my hand to put it into focus. You can see my horrible ruffled hand there where it is in focus. Trying to get my face in focus, but I didn't quite do it. It seemed to go a lot more in focus, and I did a few extra tests, as you can see here. Okay, this is a Helios 44-2 58mm f2 vintage lens. These are really popular actually for films and so on, and it is a very nice lens. My one's a little bit cloudy and a little bit scratched up, but still it gives a very nice image, and it definitely has that film look to it. Okay, this is the Helios 44-2 58mm f2 vintage lens, but this is without the anamorphic adapter, and you can see the kind of look it gives you if you don't use the adapter. Still very nice, and still very filmic, and a lot sharper, I will be honest. Okay, this is a Miranda 35 to 70mm f3.5 to 4.5 vintage lens. It's one my dad actually gave me, and you can see because it's like a slightly higher f-stop, this is so sharp. It really is sharp. It looks absolutely brilliant. I'm gonna have to use this more with the adapter. I like the look a lot. Okay, this is the Tamron 7300, which is ridiculous at 300mm. You can see all the purple fringing, and it's absolutely crazy, and I think it's actually just too close to focus anyway. This is at 70mm on the Tamron 70 to 300, and as you can see, it's a lot sharper, a lot sharper. It's handheld on the Sigma 28 to 70. So overall, after using it now for a few months and trying it on different lenses, what do I think of this adapter? It's not something I'd use all the time. I definitely think it works better on Sirui anamorphic lenses like this one here. It's much sharper, it works better on them. Adapting glass like this Super Takumar is brilliant. It works really well on the Helios 44-2 I have got. I think it looks absolutely brilliant on that. It's still very heavy. You need to have maybe some kinds of lens support for it. But to get that nice look at an extremely budget price, I think it works really well. Don't get the huge flarings, but that could be better. It's not a big squeeze. On these shots around London, as you can see here, when I'm looking at the bridge, and then you get the backdrop there, I think that looks absolutely fantastic. It's not super sharp, it's definitely not super in focus, but there's something about it. The way the 85mm lens grabs the backdrop, and then you get the people walking over. It just gives this amazing look. It really does. Something about it, it just looks like a movie to me. If it was in better focus, of course. The shots of the statue, you can see that's not in focus at all, but it does give a very dreamy look that can be usable in some situations. And as you can tell, some of the shots here are in focus, some of the shots here are not in focus, but it's a good example walking around with 85mm with the anamorphic adapter on it. The reason why I chose the 85mm is it's quite small, and to walk around with that made my life nice, really. So walking around with the 85mm with the adapter on it, not too heavy, manageable, and just it was all on manual focus. Okay, I hope this video helps someone who might be interested in this adapter and put it on different lenses. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you. And bye bye. I just hope I was in focus. Cheers.